Hi, I'm Jen. I'm the owner of My Brooklyn Pilates, and today is a crunch technique video. So come to lying on your back. Let's go over some proper technique for crunches, because I think they get a really bad rap, and I really think that a big part of that is due to poor technique, and then doing lots of repetitions with poor technique, and also having the misconception that you have to do crunches or sit-ups to work your core. That does not mean that crunches are wrong or bad to do, except for, there are some circumstances. So if you feel like, I'm not sure if they're right for me, please reach out to your doctor, get some advice from a specialist. But if crunches are good for you, you're safe to do crunches, come to lying on your back. So what you want to start off with crunches is, and one kind of mistake that I often see for just crunches, and crunches are just a tiny forward curl. That's not a sit-up. It's a little different than a sit-up. Is you want to make a triangle with your hands. We're going to find our neutral pelvis first. So you're going to place your fingertips down by your pubic bones. You're resting on your lower belly. Your palms are on your two bony hip points on the sides of your pelvis. And you can rock a little forward and backwards. And I have a whole video on this if you want to just practice this part. And you're going to find your triangle parallel to the ceiling. So you'll notice that those 3 points, that triangle, is parallel to the surface in front of you. Like again, if we're lying down, that's up towards the ceiling. That makes your waist float a little bit away from the mat. Everybody's a little bit different. That's why we don't gauge from the back, we gauge from the front. You're going to keep that triangle the entire time that we do crunches today, and that waist is going to stay slightly floating as well the whole time. You're going to take your hands, a couple options for the hand position. I like one hand on top of the other. You could interlace the fingers. You could place your hands on the sides of your ears. By your ears is totally fine. So a hand position is comfy for you. Again, I do one hand on top of the other. At the base of my skull, the top of my neck, I'm going to take my elbows and float them so that they're in my peripheral vision. So I can barely see the tips of my elbows. Keeping that triangle, I'm going to take a breath in through my nose. I'm going to breathe out, bring my chin down to my throat like I'm making a double chin. And my hands are there for support, but I'm really actually cinching in my waist, taking my front bottom ribs and starting to pull them towards my pelvis. I'm doing a teeny tiny crunch, and then I'm going to lower back down. We're going to make it a little bigger in just a moment, but let's practice a few small ones. So chin to your throat like you're making a double chin. I'm going to lift my head so those neck muscles are working. My hands are there to support. You're starting to feel the abdominals a little bit. I'm going to start to pull my ribs down towards my pelvis. Again, I'm not tucking my tail under and keeping my neutral pelvis, that triangle parallel to the ceiling, and then lowering back down. Again, exhale, bring your chin to your throat. And feel free to make a nice strong exhale like you're blowing out candles. So each one you're going to go just a little bit further. So again, double chin. And those ribs are narrowing in the front and reaching down towards the pelvis. And you're only going to go up as high as you can, that your pelvis does not tuck under, the waist does not press into the floor. And I'm looking down towards my navel on that curl, and watch that you're not using your arms to pull your head off the floor. Your head is heavy back in your hands. I'm using initially my neck muscles on the side of my throat, and then my abdominals. Specifically the rectus abdominis are what are shortening and pulling you forward. We're also cinching in our waist, and that's working your deepest abdominal. If you add any sort of twisting, then you're working that mid-layer of obliques. So elbows are in your peripheral vision. Bring your chin to your throat. Exhale. Nice strong exhale, keeping that triangle parallel. The furthest you're really going to go is just to the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, maybe slightly further than that, but that's it. It's just the upper spine coming into a curl. And then you can play around with these. You don't need to do a million of these. You could do maybe 10 of them or 5 of them. And then maybe the next one, come into a curl, and can you stay there and breathe and excuse the usual Cece the cat who likes to join in on all the videos. Can you stay here and breathe? Can you keep your pelvis still? And so that air is going into your ribs. Now if you want to practice the breathing, I have other videos for that as well. So check out my rib cage breathing video. That's very useful for crunches. And then lower your shoulders and your head. You could even curl forward and maybe pick up one foot and put it down and switch. Can you keep that forward curl? Keep your pelvis still. Keep breathing. Keep your head just relaxed back into your hands. but the hands are not pulling forward on the head. Excuse me, kitty. One more time. Have weight back in both feet, and then lower your shoulders and your head. So those are just a few options of ways you can do crunches and to practice crunches. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, and don't forget to subscribe.